What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sunset Valley. So today we're actually doing a house that you might not be familiar with. It's called Wagner's Repose, and like honestly, I didn't really know much about this thing. It's an uninhabited house. There's not really any pre-made Sims living in it. It's kind of like a weird style. It's kind of half cabin, half Victorian, but anyway, I guess I'm just gonna get into explaining it. The inside was actually really old-fashioned and classic, so I wanted to keep a lot of that, but the outside was just screaming cabin, so I tried to turn it into like a Victorian house, which is weird because it actually had a tower in the middle that I removed, so I didn't really add any external elements. I just really wanted to fix the roof, and I had to cut off a piece at the back here just to make it all balance out because this roof is already crazy and big. And I've already done a lot of gabled roofs and stuff like this, so I don't want things to look like too repetitive. I want them to look harmonious like when you're in map view, but not like unable to tell which house is which. And I also thought the porch was a little bit too big, so you can see here I'm just like fiddling with columns. I end up just like cutting off a tile off of each side and making like a little bit of a diagonal like detail on certain parts because I like when it kind of looks like it curves around. Like you don't want your porch to be like all rectangles, especially when you have gabled roofs and like boxes. Like everything's very boxy. Like you have like bump outs that are boxes, you have gabled roofs that are 90 degrees. So you got to be a little bit careful. I think a little bit of angles kind of helps the eye dance a bit. But yeah, moving into the outside, so I figured like it's kind of like green on the outside and green on the inside, so I may as well go for it. It's kind of weird because I don't really like the color green, but if I'm doing like a green EA style house, then I may as well kind of like pick the greens that I like. So I like forest greens. I like that Sims 4 minty green. So I don't hate all greens. I just don't like that weird 70s green that looks like it came out of a baby. You know, the one that EA puts all over Sunset Valley. But yeah, and then to offset the green, I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna use like a nice light wood texture. So it ends up being a little bit more contemporary than what it's looking like now. But I just wanted it to be a little bit more of a contemporary style on an old house. So I thought like, what if they like renovated the siding on the house? What if they redid the bricks or painted something or whatever? And yeah, you can see here now I'm trying to create like the little bit of shape with the wraparound because this thing pretty much had a wraparound porch, which is something that I usually like in a build. I just didn't like the way they did it, and they had like too many side doors, double doors everywhere sticking out. And you don't always want too many doors in your house. Like it's great to have enough doors so that way people can get around, but you don't want so many doors that like, you know, people have too many options. Too many options can create just as many routing problems as not enough sometimes. But yeah, this is pretty much what it ends up looking like. I think I end up changing like the upstairs siding a little bit. This is a nice trick actually. I want to mention this because I haven't really started my build tutorial video, so I'm just trying to like leave little bits of information as I do these speed builds. When you can't decide on like which parts to make like brick or siding or whatever, just always think of what's the heaviest. So like brick and stone are heavy, so try to put them on the first floor, and then on your second floor put all siding. And then like if you want, you can adjust little things, like you might make a bump out all siding or something, but like that's kind of like the most logical way to do it. And if you look at a lot of real life buildings, they do that because it's a lot harder to move bricks to the third floor than it is like wood or drywall or something, right? Okay, so anyway, now we're finally moving into the inside of the build. So I keep a lot of the furniture. I thought most of it was pretty good. The dining set is a little bit too contemporary, but a lot of the inside stuff like the couch and like a lot of the furniture was very old-fashioned, very Victorian and chic, so I really liked it. And of course, like with an old style house, like it had a big open floor plan, so I decided to kind of close it up and kind of create like a little bit of a hallway and just like create like, you know, a separate lounge, a separate dining room. Actually, yeah, it has a separate dining room, lounge, and kitchen on the first floor and the bathroom. And yeah, the kitchen was kind of fun too, because again, like I would never do like a wooden green kitchen. This is actually like very kind of like 90s revival style, and it's not something that I would make on my own, so it was kind of fun to like renovate and kind of use a lot of the existing things. That's what's been good about these renovations. A lot of times with these houses, they either get the outside really good or the inside, never both, and sometimes neither. But in this case, the inside was like pretty good. I just had to like bring it out a little bit. So you'll see I'm adding like a little bit of my own wallpapers, adding a little bit of color, because again, this is an unoccupied house and it'll be like for people to move their Sims into. So I just kind of want to have like a nice pretty basic house, and there's a little bit of room for you to add your own things in case like you need to add a skill building item for a specific sim. But I do add a few of those anyway. Yeah, so the dining room is actually kind of like the biggest room, which is kind of necessary because I wanted to do a little bit of decoration. And ever since The Sims 1, dining tables have always been like a space hogger. You never have enough space to really put the dining table where you want it. And yeah, I kind of went a little bit too crazy with trying to change the woods and trying to change like, you know, everything to like a perfect match. But in reality, like woods don't always match in real life. Sometimes what I like to do in a Victorian house is do like all a certain wood in one room and a different wood in another, like the oak room, the cherry room, the birch room, or whatever. But for this one, I just wanted to keep it cohesive because I figure it's more contemporary renovation, like a contemporary renovation of old style. So they use like the same couple tiles and the same couple woods kind of throughout the house, which is fine because I changed up like the colors in the wallpaper slightly, but the dominant color is green. You can tell by the rugs and everything. I still made like the bathroom blue and the lounge lounge walls pink, but green is the dominant color. But going upstairs, I do like a few more changes. I left myself a few more liberties with the upstairs because I just thought, you know what, like it's kind of like, you know, for Sims that don't exist, so I may as well just try and make them what I think. And like I always say, like you can change the colors of everything. Like if a color doesn't suit you, like the floor plan's still gonna be good. So just slap on your own wallpapers and it'll be fine. But yeah, I bounce around a lot because I was like, I had so many ideas and I was thinking like what kind of bedroom should I make? Like what kind of baby room should I make? And it's like, it's hard like when you don't have anything to go off. Like I prefer to be like creative within rules and limitations. Like I like knowing like what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing. It's just easier for me to make decisions. But like for this, it's just like, I have to pick like the prettiest bed, I guess. Which who's to say what the prettiest bed is? And I liked some of the color ideas upstairs, but not really all of them. The bathrooms were particularly unsettling, but I kind of kept the style of the one. It was like very like old-fashioned style, and I thought, you know what? Like sometimes they miss one bathroom. Like not necessarily EA, but even in real life, like when you're doing like a renovation on your house, there might be that one bathroom that you don't change. You know what I mean? And it just kind of stays in its own decade, which is fine, I guess. But then like with creative style, like you get lots of options. Like you can change like the colors and textures of everything. This is something that I've been trying out a lot. Being able to randomize the textures and stuff really gives me a lot of new ideas because there's a lot of textures that I wouldn't even know where to find, or like I wouldn't even think to use them. But if you're just like randomizing like your wallpaper or randomizing an item, sometimes like you get a nice texture that just kind of gives it that extra touch. And if you're not thinking about textures, then The Sims 3 starts to turn into The Sims 4 because then you get all these like blank walls of like, you know, bright, weird colors with no texture or detail, kind of like the terrain. Actually, the terrain in The Sims 4 is notoriously bad for texture. Sometimes it's just like flat green plastic. But yeah, I'm just getting into a bitchy mood because they just launched like the patch today for like the infants, and I have not heard good things yet. So I'm kind of just keeping that at bay and continuing the project that I'm doing. And bringing us to the end of the project, as we can see, I'm kind of making a green baby's room, which I do not remember doing. I'm kind of doing like a couple speed builds at a time, then a couple voiceovers. So this is actually like one of the builds that I've done like maybe like almost a week ago. So I kind of forgot what I was doing. I remember the downstairs a lot, but the upstairs, for some reason, I just have no recollection. But whatever, it's fine. We're basically at the end of the build anyway. The only thing I have to do really is the backyard. And like I said, I'm not doing backyards for every house, but I thought for this house, it was kind of grand enough. And there was a lot of outdoor space and the patios already anyway. I thought, why not? Oh my goodness, I changed the dining room to red. I do not remember doing that. That's so crazy. Like I thought I was leaving it as a green room. Ew, the baby poo walls in the kitchen. I forgot about that. But I do remember seeing it when I was making it. And I thought, you know what? It's not that noticeable, so why not keep it in? I didn't pick that color. EA picked that color. And you know me, I'm just trying to keep it true to the style. But yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end of the speed build. Why don't I just jump into first person and then we can take a closer look? See you there. Welcome to my rendition of Wagner's Repose. I didn't even know I had a version of Wagner's Repose before I started. I can't even say the name of the lot. Anyway, getting out of first person, I just want to kind of tour around. So this house definitely had that like old kind of cabiny shed vibe. I hope I brought it up a little bit. I tried this like light wood, which is normally not something I would use, but it worked really well for the porch. And so I used it for the top too. And yeah, going around the back here, like I kept a lot of the original landscaping and the terrain paint. I thought that was all done really nicely. It was just really kind of big and empty. So I fenced around it with this kind of like, you know, more contemporary style fence. I like using fences in The Sims 3 because it reminds me of the fences that you don't have in The Sims 4. But I'll stop being bitchy. I also kind of kept the garage over here. I kind of just cleaned it up a little bit, made it a little bit more fancy, but it's still just a garage, right? But yeah, the biggest change was definitely removing the tower that was in the middle. So this house originally had like a third and fourth floor, like little box thing that stuck out of the middle. And I've done that kind of tower before. I just didn't think it suited this house, and it was impossible to roof with that thing on it. And I just wanted to use like a simple kind of double gabled roof like I usually do. Oh my God, maybe this is like my version of EA style, who knows? But yeah, touring the builds in first person seems to be popular, so let's keep doing that. Going into the front, I'm actually really pleased with the front entry hall because this is like a really nice kind of like formal way to like enter into your house. And especially with like a Victorian style, I thought it was really appropriate, and it kept with the same green aesthetic that they were going for. Because a Victorian green reminds me of like arsenic and everything in the wallpaper, so let's go for it. Coming into the pink lounge, I made it pink for no reason other than to create something different, but it's a nice little floor plan. I kept most of it the same. I changed some of the furniture, but kept some of the furniture too, because they did really have this like nice old-fashioned style that I wanted to keep. I added a guitar, I can't remember why, but going into the dining room, like I said, I painted it red, which was a nice surprise even for me. Sorry, I just noticed that all the lights were off, but coming into the red dining room, I really liked the dining room. I kept with this like contemporary dining set. I wasn't really sure what to do. They had a really modern one, and I wanted to use one that was like really fancy and everything, but all my good ones are from the Sims 3 store, so I didn't want want to use those. And I figure since it's like in the future, then like things can be a little bit more contemporary. Coming into the green and baby poo kitchen, which I kind of kept and actually greened up a little bit more. I changed the appliances to more of a green. I forgot to mention that. So the fridge, the dishwasher, and the oven and trash compactor have all been tinted a little bit. Oh, and I added the high chair because there's a baby in this house. Well, not necessarily, but there is a nursery. And the last room down here on the ground floor is actually a little bit of a bathroom. So I put like the tub shower combo here, just like a pedestal sink and toilet, like just kind of like the basics. I was gonna put some decorations, but there's already so many decorations downstairs. And sometimes wall lights can help you fill up a little bit of space. By the way, I think these paintings are from Supernatural. I was just so sick of the base game paintings, I had to use something else. So if you don't have Supernatural, they just won't have the paintings, but everything else will be here. Going upstairs, apparently I need a few more lights because this wall light is not cutting it. But let's just go behind door number 1. So I guess this is the bathroom that I decided to keep. My goodness. So this tile, this tub, these windows, these curtains, most of this stuff was already here. So I just decided to keep it because it is kind of an old-fashioned style. And like I said, sometimes you miss a bathroom when renovating. It's also attached to the baby's room, which I added in the green. So I wanted like little green lines on the outside of the window lines, you know, like where it faces out on the front dormer. I just wanted like the little green details. And in order to do that, you need to change these frames green. So I did that and I thought, I may as well make the baby room green. And this crib actually was one of the random ones. Like I was clicking like the dice trying to get like a good color and this popped out. So I just kept it. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Going in the next door, I think we have the other bathroom. So I kept like the same tile as the kitchen and stuff. I kind of made these like a little bit more of like a worn marble texture. I don't really know why, but again, tub shower combo because it's more convenient and better for your Sims. And again, this is an empty house. So like you'd be moving into this one. Coming in here, I guess is the most master of the bedrooms because it has its own bathroom. So this pink wallpaper is something else. I knew it was a bit of a statement and it kind of goes well with the floor wood, but I'm not really sure about the wall wood. And again, like you can't have all the woods match in real life. Sometimes I like matching furniture sets. Like I'll match like the dresser to the bed, but I won't necessarily match the wall because it's not too realistic. But yeah, going into our final bedroom, it's kind of like an orange and blue surprise. I like orange and blue together, but you have to use like the right types of orange and not too much. So I decided to use this little diamond pattern. I think the diamond pattern came with the room. I just kind of like adjusted it a little bit. But this orange comforter, I'm pretty impressed with. I was pretty surprised. Sometimes like you try to do a texture like this and it doesn't always work out. Sometimes the color gets swallowed in the texture, if that makes sense. But this time it didn't happen. But yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end. What did you guys think? Have you ever played in this house before? Because like I'm not really familiar with it. When I went in, I was surprised, like a little bit pleasantly surprised, but the outside was always like such a weird shape and not really my style that I never really bothered to go inside. But now that I have, I'm glad I dressed it up. And I was sharing a little bit like in my Discord about like how I was renovating this. And a lot of them didn't like it, but like I still liked it and I still went through with it. So like, you know, the best thing to do is to just stick with your gut because not everyone's gonna like it. And at least if you like it, then you're not gonna feel bad about it. At least I don't. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for some more Sims content. And yeah, since I mentioned my Discord, I may as well pop a link down below so that way you can join if you want to. There's a few hundred of us. We kind of just talk about like the Sims and builds and life and stuff, but a lot of it deals with style and like horrific things that we see. So it can be kind of fun. I was just putting it out there. But anyway, Destiny and I will see you in the next one. Boom.